Hi there folks. Now these are slightly more organized than I would typically have them laid out for this job, but I am genuinely going through and cleaning up all of my cameras and lenses after my last big trip to Nevada. I was filming with Steph and 4 models on one shoot, 4 models on another shoot, 2 models on another shoot. It was fantastic, but it was a lot of lens changes and a lot of running around in the dust, in the desert, in all kinds of, let's call them fun conditions. Got some really great material. It's going to be coming soon to the art website before too long, so I won't show you too much of that here. But as I go through and do this process, I'm actually getting everything ready because my next trip is coming up, and that's my bird migration tour to Iceland that you probably heard me talking about at the start of the year. That's sold out. We have a great group. I can't wait to go and take them around and see the best Iceland has to offer during the summer months. And I'm figuring out exactly what I'm going to pack because I may have another trip between now and then, and I'll basically need to have my gear prepped and ready, or maybe prepped and ready and packed, so I can fit that trip in. So something that watch collectors often do is a state of the collection video, I guess like a State of the Union address from the president, where they go through and show you what they have in their kit. And that's more of a hoarding show off, to be honest, often. What my kit is I really have, I know it's ridiculous, right? But I really haven't added much to it in the past couple of years. And the things that I have added get used all the time. So I'm not buying frivolous stuff, but it has changed and I've gotten rid of some things and added some things. So I thought I'd show it to you and talk you through what I'm going to take on this next trip. In terms of cleaning the bodies and lenses and stuff, I already lost it, the rocket blower and then lens cleaning wipes. I'll link to those below if you are needing to do something like this for yourself. Now, before we get into all of this, folks, head on over to mattgranger.com, and if you sign up to my mailing list, I'll send you a free copy of my guide to improving your portraiture. And whilst you're there, you can also check out my expert setup guides. I have one for the Nikon Z system. I also have it for Sony Alpha, Fuji GFX, and Hasselblad. They take you through the different models in the system, how to set them up out of the box, what all the physical controls do, as well as complete menu deep dives so you can get the most out of your mirrorless camera system. It's kind of funny, actually. I'm still, as you can see, primarily a Nikon shooter, secondarily a Hasselblad one, but whenever I put out Sony content for some reason, I get all these comments. I don't know if they're from Nikon users that are worried or Sony users that are hopeful or vice versa, saying, oh, what, you're shooting Sony now? I thought you were a Nikon shooter. It's quite funny because when I review Canon or Fuji stuff, I never get those comments, but when you review Sony stuff, people seem to assume that you're jumping ship. No, I've made the Sony guide, so I've been shooting a lot with them over this year to get myself up to date with all of the latest features and models. But in terms of what I actually own, this is it. So let's jump into it. So we can break down my gear. Here's the rocket blower. We can break down my gear into Nikon and Hasselblad, essentially. There's a few M-mount lenses in here as well, which I can adapt to either system. They work better on the Nikons, however, because the super fast readout means that there's no problem about not using a mechanical shutter, whereas on the Hasselblads, there's still kind of a slow readout, so the chance of getting warping is higher. So I tend to stick to their own leaf shutter lenses there. So I'll run you through what's in here, and then as I get to it, I'll tell you what I use it for, acknowledge if I'm not using it enough, and whether or not I'm planning to bring it on this trip. So 400mm TC f2.8 Z lens. Honestly, and I did a video on this recently, I think this may be the best lens, best long lens that Nikon has ever made. Now, I know that's a huge statement. I'm going to say something similar about a Hasselblad lens later, but it's just phenomenal. Yes, it's expensive, and yes, I think they're still back-ordered, but it is a matter of you get what you pay for. Now, for this particular trip, yes, 600 or 800mm lenses would be a good option too, but this having the built-in TC, I have the option to go out to 560 at f4 with just a flick, and I'm going to be taking the 2x TC along with me as well, so that will come to Iceland. I should note that I'm going to run this tour in Iceland, and then I'm actually going to Prague to film a new course for the Art Nude website. So I'm going to need some different equipment for that. So I'll most likely leave it in Reykjavik for my tour and then pick it up at the end. It's a shame to lug that all the way to Prague because I don't think I'll be using it for art nude stuff, but I just can't leave it at home. When you own a lens like that, you find opportunities to shoot with it. Having said that, the 500p f/f-mount lens I won't be taking along just because it would be redundant, but it's a great lens. But to be honest, that is one that I have to admit, having the new one doesn't get that much use. So I may put that one up for sale. Anyone interested? That's not the point of this video, but still, it'd be nice to see it go to someone in the community. The 100 to 400 is a great lens, and I'll be honest, that probably doesn't get enough use these days either. That would be a great one for this trip because the places we're going quite close to some nesting areas. Some of the puffin areas we're going, you can get really close, so you don't need to be out at 560 or 800 mil to get the great shots. But because of what other things I'm taking, I am not going to take that to Iceland. 200 f2, I still love this lens, but when I have it next to the 400 and they're almost the same weight despite the size differences, it makes me kind of realize how ridiculous this lens is. I love it, but no, it won't be coming on this trip. I will be taking at least one flash, maybe two flashes, mainly for the portraiture, but actually some full flash for birds can be great. The 105 1.4 E lens, one of my favorite portraiture lenses. I actually haven't bought the Z85 or 135 because I love this one so much. But again, it's most likely not coming with me on this trip. The 70 to 200 ZS lens, fantastic lens, like, to be honest, pretty much all the 70 to 200s from all of the brands. They're great. This one will come with me, and then that with the 2x on it becomes a 140 to 400 that complements my 400/560, or if I put the TC on it, my 800 1120 option that guy gives me. The 51.8, I will take this one. When I'm filming courses, I often need a redundancy. So right now I'm filming on a Z9 with a 24 to 70 f4. I'll take the 24 to 70 2.8 along for my stills work, but then the f4 is fine for video. So I often have two 24 to 70s and two 50 mils. So then I've got one for stills and one for video. But seeing a lot of my Prague course is going to be indoors, I may not need two 50s. And given I'm taking along some pretty big lenses already, the 51.2 may stay at home and I'll rely on the 51.8 for the portrait stuff. In terms of bodies, Z7 II, Z8, Z9, D700, FE, and another Z9 that you're watching right now. I'll be taking both Z9s and the Z8. Depends about the Z7 II. For filming courses, I want one stills camera and at least two camera angles, so I think Z8, Z9, Z9 is sufficient for that. D700 I mainly have as a Sir Click-a-Lot. I wouldn't be planning to take that on this trip. The 14 to 30 I will take. It's great for, it's my wide angle option. I don't have the 14 to 24. It's a great lens for travel. It's nice and small. The image quality is still quite spectacular. And for wide angle shots in my courses, that's really handy indoors. Often for the courses, I'll be using wider lenses than you might think for the video, because all these cameras are 8K capable. When, for example, in Prague, I'll be shooting models and I most likely won't have a videographer on site, I can set up a camera or set up 2 or 3 cameras for the scenes that I want, frame them wider than I need, record in 8K, and then, for example, if it's a shot that has me and the model in it, I can crop in just to me or just to them, or move with me as I move around in edit, thanks to the bigger footprint of the 8K file. These guys I won't take, but they're actually pretty great. The Viltrox 85-1.8 and the APS-C 75-1.2. The 75-1.2 in particular, it's a crop lens, but if you have the resolution to work with or you're using a crop body, the image quality is actually spectacular. Full props to them. You can see most of my gear is Nikon equipment, but this is a class lens. Have to give them credit. Moving into the Hasselblad stuff, here's where it gets a little bit uncertain, because it's basically going to come down to my packing. I may just take along the X2D and, or is it the 90mm that's currently on the CFV? I think the 90 may be, again, I haven't tested nearly as many, so this is a bold, less substantiated statement. But I can say that I think the 90 is the best Hasselblad lens I've ever used. And I did have the opportunity to use some great Zeiss lenses made for the V system back in the day. And they were fantastic as well. But I've got a video coming actually comparing the legendary 110 lens to this guy, and the 90 is just spectacular. Now the CFV actually isn't mine. I still have that on loan from the launch. I will eventually need to return that guy. It's a great camera and it would be great for Iceland, but because my goal on these kind of trips is to make sure my guests get the best shots, I'm not going to be walking off and spending 2 hours methodically taking landscape photos. I'll be getting a couple of quick shots myself, then going around the group to make sure they have what they need. So I'll leave that one at home for sure. Maybe I take the X2D, but whilst, you know, it could come out for a landscape shot here or there, it's more for the spectacular skin tones when I'm doing the portraits that may come out, but it's optional for this trip. If I weren't doing birding and I wasn't taking these big lenses to Iceland, then the kit would be coming. The 38 lens, spectacular, comes to like a 30mm equivalent, and 28 is my favorite focal length for street and documentary. The FE is just here because I got everything out of the fridge to clean it up. This is an M-mount 50mm f1.0 lens from MS Optics and a 35-1.4 Summilux. This one has the adapter on it to go onto Hasselblad. This one, there's actually autofocus adapters, so you can use any of these on your mirrorless cameras. This is a TT Artisan 50.95 that they sent out to me to do some work with. The focus ring has actually detached from the barrel, so that tells you something about the QC, I guess. It's actually reasonably sharp for what it is. The 35-75, probably the least sold, I'm guessing, of the XCD lenses, but I think it's spectacular. That guy agrees. It is big, heavy, expensive, but you really do get, even by these lens standards, 3 or 4 or 5 prime lenses in one with outstanding quality. So, love that. This is still on loan from Hasselblad that eventually I'll have to give back. I should say this quietly because I want to hang on to it as long as I can. The 80mm, the 21mm, and then this is a Zhongyi 65mm f1.4, which is for Hasselblad mount. I don't know what to say about that. Which is fine, but for a shallow depth of field on these cameras that don't have a mechanical shutter, it's not the best option, to be honest. For something like this, it would work better on a GFX where you have the shutter still. GoPro, I always take that along with a hot shoe mount so that I can get it either a bird's eye view in the corner of the room or over the camera view of what I'm shooting. I can barely see the back screen anymore because I scratched it right up with a couple of drops when I was in Vegas, unfortunately. I'll definitely take a couple of these little Luxley fiddle lights. These are so great for adding a little touch of light here or there, whether it's for video or for stills. I'm actually using one here and one here to just get some little edge lights on the equipment. So I have 4 in total. They either have a diffuser, you can have them bare, or this one has a honeycomb grid to get a tighter light beam. And then stacks and stacks of cleaning cloths, blowers, all that kind of stuff, and then all of the equipment you need. So of course, Prague is going to be significantly warmer and less volatile weather than Iceland, so I kind of am packing for 2 different trips at the one time. Does that cover everything? I think it pretty much does. Do check out my setup guides. As I say, I now have them for 4 different mounts. We have the Nikon Z, as well as Sony Alpha, Hasselblad XCD, as well as the Fuji GFX. You can see details of some deals that I have going on below as well. Let me know any questions or feedback you have. If you're planning an intervention for me for my gear hoarding, then yeah, just forward me an invite. Cheers guys, I'll see you soon.